The Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm instantly caved to accusations that they had, quote unquote, dead named a composer named Dean Kiner in the credits for The Bad Batch. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you, please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. This is up over at thatparkplace.com. And we have a bunch of woke Star Wars activists called the Daughters of Ferrix, which I guess is their podcast. And they decided to go after Lucasfilm for, quote unquote, dead naming this composer named Dean Kiner. And if you're unfamiliar with the Daughters of Ferrix podcast, they describe this is the description that they provide on their X account. It says they take a look at Star Wars from a political, historical, and queer perspective. So you know what you're getting into with this with this already. But this is what they posted on X. The newest episode of The Bad Batch dead names composer Dean Kiner in the credits. This shouldn't have happened in the first place, so it's something that Lucasfilm or Disney need to fix now. And then you can see that they have the score there: Kevin Kiner, Sean Kiner, and Dean Kiner. The screenshot. They continued saying this. Was this done with malice? I thoroughly doubt it, but it is extremely careless, particularly because the previous 3 episodes, as released a week ago, didn't carry the error. Someone effed up big. It's not an error. That's actually his real name. Just to be clear on that. And then the podcast petitioned Jennifer Corbett, the head writer of The Bad Batch, to fix the credit. Daughters of Ferrix wrote this. The new episode was excellent, and I'm a big fan of the show, but please, this is a huge error, and it should be rectified. Obviously, tagging in Jennifer Corbett and Disney Plus help there. And then we did get this response from Corbett saying, we are working with Disney Plus to correct this error as soon as possible on the effective platforms and to ensure it doesn't happen again. Based on what I saw is that they, quote unquote, corrected the error, which is indeed wrong, because they are now trying to spread the lie that this person is a woman when he is actually a man, and trying to push that lie on people. And then this is why it is wrong. Archbishop Alexander Sample of the Archdiocese of Portland explains, to some, supporting aspects of social transition may seem benign, even humane, such as using someone's preferred pronouns and actively affirming his or her perceived gender. However, while well-intentioned, this kind of endorsement may help shepherd a young person on a path of unnecessary medicalization. He went on and said, social transition is often the first step towards hormones and surgery. A 2020 survey of transgender and non-binary youth found that 64% of respondents were either already receiving cross-sex hormones or desired to do so. Danish researchers who first used puberty blockers on gender dysphoric children found that social transition increased the likelihood that dysphoria would persist and result in medicalization. Social transition can also include practices such as breast binding and genital tucking, both of which have been shown to have adverse effects on physical health, like testicular torsion and reduced fertility in females, and and reduced fertility in males, and abnormal lung function and back pain in females. Moreover, a 2020 study on the effects of social transition found that family and peer relations, but not social transition status, predicted psychological functioning. We also have this letter from my bishop, Bishop Michael Burbidge of the Diocese of Arlington, where he actually is instructing the faithful to not participate in using people's quote unquote preferred pronouns or describing or using whatever name they want to describe themselves by, because it is giving credence to the lie as well as the ideology that the individual is trying to spread. This is what he wrote in his letter, A Catechesis on the Human Person and Gender Ideology. I highly recommend you read that in full. Very, very informative. But he writes this. Those asserting a transgender identity and or seeking to transition often adopt new names and pronouns that reflect their desired identity and insist that others must use the chosen names and pronouns. Such use might seem innocuous and even appear to be an innocent way of signaling love and acceptance of a person. In reality, however, it presents a profound crisis. We can never say something contrary to what we know to be true. To use names and pronouns that contradict the person's God-given identity is to speak falsely. He then instructs this. The faithful should avoid using gender-affirming terms or pronouns that convey approval of or reinforce the person's rejection of the truth. It is not harsh or judgmental to decline to use such language. In the broader culture, Catholics may experience significant pressure to adopt culturally approved terminology. However, in no circumstances should anyone be compelled to use language contrary to the truth. The right to speak the truth inheres in the human person and cannot be taken away by any human institution. Attempts by the state, corporations such as Disney and Lucasfilm, or employers such as Disney and Lucasfilm, to compel such language, particularly by threats of legal action or job loss, are unjust. We must love in the truth, and truth must be accurately conveyed by our words. At the same time, clarity must always be at the service of charity as part of a broader desire to move people towards the fullness of the truth. So very clear there. And I think the fact that Walt Disney Company and Lucasfilm, in their actions in this, how they, Jennifer Corbett's actions, how they immediately kind of catered to these woke activists, immediately tried to change Dean's name to buy into this fake persona he's trying to create around himself, shows just how captured the company is by these radical activists and how they have chosen to stand against truth and justice. And just really, they're making it very clear where they are in this battle on truth and justice. But those are my thoughts on the matter. Let me know what you guys make of this. What do you make of what Lucasfilm did and in catering to these activists? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.